comedy from the middle of nowhere. I'm Scott Ecker, the lowest paid host in late night. We've got a great show tonight. We've got, as our first guest, one of my favorite people to work with, Jason Jacobson, a local improviser and stand-up comedian, and just a generally nice guy to talk to. So hope you enjoy my interview with local comic Jason Jacobson. We've had troubles with the movers. Like, are you comfortable? Because, like, the set's not in yet. Coffee maker's not in yet. This is what we got, so we're making do.
I thought this was the set.
Oh, no, it might be. I don't know where the movers went, so...
This is like an inside the actor's studio, but it's more like inside the actor's storage shed.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I don't want to, like, lie either and, like, pretend like this is professional, I know what I'm doing. Because part of it is to be like, I'm a guy that just wants to try something, and that's good to show, you know?
So this isn't, like, professional.
This is on public access and the internet, so we'll see if this gets shared. Yeah.
Oh, it's on the internet.
No pay, yeah.
No pay?
No pay.
That's fine. That's
We
right.
don't have the sponsors yet. We're working out.
I don't know. I think this white, whoever makes white coffee cups will be like a great
Yes.
sponsor. Oh, is this a Rubbermaid table?
This is a Rubbermaid table. Rubbermaid, this is the pilot, by the way, so they want to see how the pilot does. So they're donating this as kind of like a tease, like, hey, we can give you more of this if we like what you do.
We can give you a table that's even if you get 1,000 views.
Yes.
Okay. It's nice to see that there's potential to grow.
And we're in talks with the tablecloth company to cover this up, so it's very exciting developments then for the audiences.
I want to warn you, you don't want like solo cups. We're going to make tablecloths.
Okay.
To conflict with Rubbermaid.
That's true.
Because it's like, how do you know it's a Rubbermaid table if it's got a tablecloth on it?
It's very true. We should have they moved into tablecloths yet?
Rubbermaid?
Yeah.
Placemats would probably be the most.
Okay. Yeah, they can put their logo on that, and we can find a way to display it each episode. I like that.
Yeah, or we could just say Rubbermaid, like
Rubbermaid
throughout the entire.
Comedy from the middle of nowhere, brought to you by Rubbermaid.
Right.
Rubbermaid from the middle of nowhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, it's I always feel like when I was, I don't know if I've Rubbermaid it yet in the industry. I'm definitely working to be a professional.
You're Rubbermaking it.
Yeah, I'm Rubbermaking it up as I go.
Yeah.
So
nice.
I want to do that.
So speaking of Rubbermaking up as you go, there's a type of art form that specializes in that, right?
That was a good segue.
That's a segue.
That was a great segue. Yeah.
So improv.
Yeah, what about it?
How would you explain it? Because I think that, well, you do improv and stand-up, like that's kind of your main experience. That's how I know you. And those are two concepts that I don't think people kind of struggle to understand what they are, how they work.
And I think that's crazy because it's again, you know, the whole point is to get up on a stage and make people in the audience laugh and have a good time.
Yeah.
So to me, you know, improv is when we talk about improv comedy, I want to make the distinction between improvisation and improv comedy.
Yeah.
I think improvisation is like it's an art form, and I think that the way that art form has been funded historically is through comedy.
Yeah.
So short form improv comedy, it's about making things up as you go that make people laugh. I mean,
but in short form specific, that's kind of plugging into a set rules, set games. Whose line is it anyway?
Right, exactly. It's a structure, and so it's because of that structure, it creates absurdity, and that absurdity is what creates the joke.
Yeah.
You know, and it's the commitment. That's not even just the absurdity; it's the commitment to that absurdity.
Yeah.
Which is where I think a lot of the comedy comes from.
Yeah.
You know, if you look at regular improvisation, I mean, that's it's like a almost an unconscious reaction to stimulus. You know, to create a solution for what's in front of you.
I think it was Kim Howard Johnson in like the Introduction to Truth in Comedy, an improv instructional book, where he talks about how people don't have a script throughout their day-to-day lives. They just do things. Their conversations are spontaneous. And that's really what improv is. But I don't know, there seems to be a disconnect in the understanding of it. Like,
I think it's because of the way that, you know, improvisation as an art form has been funded, right? So when people hear the term improvisation, they think comedy or
sketches,
wacky or Second City, which is like, well, isn't that going to become a sketch? And it's, again, it goes back to that idea of short form having parameters that nurture absurdity, and that absurdity is what creates the comedy. But improv itself is an art form. I look at improv as like a life philosophy. I think the concept of yes and is probably the most elegant philosophy you can.
There's a reason that like corporations take improv classes for management and all that.
Absolutely, because if you're in a corporate environment, you're reacting. If you're in a sales situation and the client throws a curveball at you, how do you react to that?
Yeah.
And more importantly, I mean, you can react by having a predefined script of prepared responses, but maybe you can take that reaction that the client had, absorb it, and then create a solution together in that moment. And improvisation teaches you how to work together to find problems to unseen stimuli. And I think that's why, as an art form, it's brilliant. I think the idea of yes and, which means accepting what's in front of you and then adding to it.
Absolutely.
I think that's applicable in any situation. Some of the best improv performers I've ever seen are mothers.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's like, how are you, like, a kid will have
tantrum or something,
like there's a woman I was talking to, and she swears that she's not creative. She swears she's not a creative person. Shenanigans. So her youngest daughter one day was lying in bed, and, you know, she was tucking her in, and then she pulled out the comforter, and it's North Dakota, so it means it's really dry, and it's a huge comforter because it's North Dakota. And like the static came, and there was like the sparks. You know, have you ever seen that? Like when it's dark?
Yeah.
So there were these sparks, and, you know, the youngest child was freaking out, like, well, where are all these sparks? Boom. Like, in the moment, the mom was like, those are to keep, you know, bad dreams away. That's improvisation in a nutshell. And, you know, we accept the fact that there are sparks flying, and then we work to find that solution and how to make you comfortable at night to sleep. Mothers are amazing improv artists.
I remember, even fathers can be, because I remember meeting a friend, and his kid was there, and his kid was afraid of like the Easter Bunny coming, because for some reason the kid thought the Easter Bunny was scary or was going to do something, he's going to take something. So he talked about like having garlic around the house or something to ward the Easter Bunny off. So, you know, he uses that.
Because the Easter Bunny is a vampire.
Yes.
It's I'm a vampire that craps eggs. Oh my gosh,
it's not natural.
You're an abomination.
Which is interesting that he chooses a holiday with so many like crosses.
I think that's ballsy.
Yes.
If you
Easter Bunny is
just hardcore.
Holiday like creatures like Santa Claus, like a chimney rather than a front door. Like that's risky at that weight and width.
Yeah, I think that's what makes Santa Claus as cool as he is.
Yeah.
Like he is a spokesperson.
I respect him. Yeah.
For like I'm surprised Santa isn't like in a Dove commercial. Like
Coke's got him on contract.
Coca-Cola. Because could you imagine, like, Santa Claus, talk about a man who's gotten famous by just loving his body.
Yeah.
Like if Santa Claus lost like 150 pounds, he wouldn't be John anymore.
Yeah.
He would be like a hipster. And no one wants a hipster Santa.
No.
It's like, oh, what did I get for Christmas? Did I get a new iPad? No, I got a typewriter. Like, I don't. Great. And I got
It's an ironic menorah or something. Yeah.
Why does menorah have a pheasant on it? Oh, hipster Santa. I mean, he's got the beard at least. But.
So speaking of how improv can lead to sketches, I think that Hipster Santa could be a very popular like series of YouTube videos around Christmas time, I think.
I only feed my reindeer organic corn, so they couldn't fly here, obviously, but that's fine. So I think like the hat would have to be. He makes all his own clothes. I'm like.
Yeah, but it's one of those like Newsies hats with maybe a little cotton ball or something on the back.
Ironically.
Yes.
Totally ironically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Non-denominational Santa.
Hipster Santa.
Uh-huh.
Jingle Bells is played on like a mandolin.
Nice.
Dashing through the snow at a pace that's fair for everybody. Or the fields will go, picking fruit if they're organic.
Like that.
Bells on bobtail spring, making spirits bright. I got nothing else. Edit that out. Public access.
Yes, I'm glad you were aware of that. That helps so much that you know this is not
Yes.
a professional show.
Jingle Bells app, Jingle Bells app, jingle all the way.
So when do you start doing improv?
I started doing improv in 2000.
Okay.
So I've been doing it for about 15 years.
And this would be at Fargo South?
Yep. So really cool. So in '99, Fargo South started their own, improv troupe, just a local club, just a bunch of kids who wanted to make something out of nothing, and that's really kind of the spirit of improv. And so they formed, and when I went to school, I joined up and auditioned and got in, and it's really kind of just changed my whole. I think improv really changed our entire high school's dynamic.
Okay.
When you think about high school, like the John Hughes version of high school, it's very hierarchical in, you have the A team and the B.
You got the Breakfast Club dynamics just very separated,
But I think improv blew that away because there was finally something that people could come to on a regular basis and just.
You got jocks and drama kids and all sorts of.
All of those stereotypes just kind of collect in one space, and now you've got these wild card kids they're not the melodramatic theater kids necessarily. They're not the A-list athletes. They're not. There's a few rebels in the mix, and so now you've got all these kind of intersecting circles into something that makes people all laugh and have a good time. And I think improv, at least for me personally, was a stronger bridge to some of those social groups. Because it's like, now you can be funny, but you're also you're not necessarily just weird to be weird. You're just naturally gregarious, and I think it really helped, at least in high school, was kind of like the saving grace, I think, in letting people become more comfortable than social butterflies. So my improv journey then, so there's a troupe in town called Line Benders. I joined up. They started in 2002. They're professional, but they're doing. I was 16, so when I graduated, I upped with them, and I was with them for about a decade. And I took some time off.
And now you're back.
And now I'm back in.
Very excited to see you in that.
That's good. It's great. So I left improv to do stand-up, and that kind of goes back to your earlier point. And I don't understand the divide between improv and stand-up. And the difference is, there's a few differences. Obviously, improv, you're making it up as you go. You've got a team. There are a lot. You encourage audience participation. In stand-up, you're on your own. Everything is prepared and nuanced, and audience participation is an invitation to destroy human beings.
I kind of learned that, because I won't do stand-up and improv in the same show anymore. I'll try not to, because improv is about being open to find the punchline, and stand-up is having to define the punchline. Which I think you flat out told me once, that it's like you got great premises, but you're not going anywhere. Find what you're saying.
Find the punchline. And I think, in improv, you need that other person to help you find that punchline.
Yeah. It's collaborative. So much of improv is about the team dynamics and supporting others. And like you said, the yes and, you need to do that too.
And you can't really yes and with yourself. I do in the mirror, but it gets weird. And I'm naked when I'm doing it, and that's also weird. We can public access. We can edit that out too.
Leave it in. We're not. I don't know the FCC guidelines or things. I don't think we're. I'm glad you didn't show up naked, because I think that might have pushed things, and I don't know.
I don't feel like getting naked either.
Okay, so good. That's good. I think we're on the same page then.
I heard black was slimming, so that's why I'm wearing black.
No comments,
So
but okay.
I've let myself go. let myself go, let it go. I was on an airplane to New York about 2 weeks ago, and there was a mother, and so my buddy and I were sitting he's in the window seat, I was in the aisle seat, and there's this mother, and she's got a toddler like 3-4 rows up.
Yeah.
And toddler's totally behaving, like just little kid swinging his feet but not kicking the chair, you know, like really conscious. And interesting conversation. I was like, oh man, come on, dude, let it go. And he looked and he's Mom, turn around and started, listen, if you want this plane ride to go smoothly, you can't use it. That's a trigger word.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
I'm at college right now, and something about that movie just hit like that demographic. Like that and The Great Gatsby, for some reason, like college kids love it.
What a weird like juxtaposition. Like you got The Great Gatsby, which is, you know, classic literature and it's set in the 20s, and then you've got a movie about snow.
Yeah.
And you're like, that.
It's interesting. They've got very different like messages and things.
One is don't be a bootlegger.
Pretty much.
The other one is wear boots.
There you go.
It's snowing. There's like the mix. There's your core. Like it's all about footwear.
Yes.
Man. So the thing is stand up. I guess I love it. I think stand up is one of the hardest.
Yeah.
Because where else do you get it's like painting and then having people, in order for you to paint, you need to have someone looking over your shoulder and telling you. And that's what I love about stand-up, is that you have to be in front of an audience. You have to get up and test the material.
And you're very good at reading the audience, playing to them, and stuff like that. I mean...
And that comes from improv.
Yeah.
That's...
Your skills blend very well, yeah.
Well, and that's where I think they think the two worlds need to live together. Like, improv has let me be okay and still give an alright performance and salvage by being able to be present in that moment.
Yeah.
Even if the predefined stuff isn't working.
Yeah.
It also helps, come up with premises. Like that conversation we just had about hipster Santa.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen without an openness and a willingness to just travel down that path and see where it goes.
Yeah.
Stand-up does the same for improv, though, because it teaches you how to get to a punchline quicker. It teaches you how to polish. It gives you the comfort to be comfortable in the discomfort. I think a lot of times is, if you're in a scene and you're on your own, like how can you analyze and process information quicker so that you can get better the next time you do a scene. So the two worlds really work together.
They do, and you mentioned the disconnect between the two. When, like, from the audience perspective, I don't think they care why they're laughing, like, as long as they're laughing. So no matter, and back to Bo Burnham or whatever, that no matter what makes them laugh, that's the end goal. And I think we get too caught up about the process or means for that.
Right. I mean, it's like if you go to a restaurant, and it's like, I'm just hungry. And I just need to know how to behave. I think that's where the audience comes in to the question, right? It doesn't matter if you're laughing at a great 10-minute stand-up set or if you're laughing at a great short-form set. But as an audience, your behavior changes. So, do I get to throw shout-outs? Am I getting called up on stage? How do I? So as long as you're open and upfront with what
the rules
are. And it doesn't even listen to rules, just you're here for an improv show, so you have this list of expectations about what you're going to see. And there's even a divide between a long form and a short form improv set.
Absolutely.
If you go to a long form improv set, you're going to watch a one-act play unfold with one suggestion. And it may or may not be funny. Short form, you're going to have a lot of suggestions, and we're trying to make you laugh. But you're right. At the end of the day, it's all about how do we make you laugh and give you that catharsis to whatever you're going through in your personal life for this next hour. You're going to feel better.
The personal life aspect is interesting because the audience is definitely, they have theirs, but for the stand-up, it's like they're dealing with stuff oftentimes, or I think that there's. I should have thought this through before I started saying that.
Guys, we're gonna edit so hard. We're gonna edit so hard.
We are.
We can even put things in the background. Like if we need to do a cutaway, we can,
Yes.
Anyway, so the personal life.
Well, I think because sometimes some comics see it as more of a personal thing, so then the audience like throws them when you need the audience reaction. Like, it's hard to accept that there's people actually reacting to what you're saying, because I think sometimes you just, you want more control over that, or...
Yeah, and I mean, every stand-up's different. They've all got,
Yeah.
like, I've worked with guys who are super polished to a T, where, they really struggle kind of getting that...
Spontaneity.
Right, like, or, why are you laughing at this part? This isn't even the punchline. Why are you laughing at the setup? And then there's other guys who are on the other side of the table where they don't have any structure. They need that. They need that one guy to say something because that's going to get me going. Or person in the front row, please be wearing a terrible shirt, please.
Yeah.
But the more experienced guys,
oftentimes it's you, the terrible shirt, but you really
I
toned it down today.
I did.
Like compared to what you usually.
I did.
You're a snappy dresser. You're a flashy guy. Yeah.
Yesterday I wore a shirt that was all multicolored monsters.
Nice.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Today I felt like for
No
Scott's
brains,
show.
yeah.
This is a pilot.
Yes.
I don't want Paisley's to stop Rubbermaid
Yes. Thank you.
from sponsoring the
Appreciate
show.
that. Because that's the end game.
Yeah.
Rubbermaid is.
Say it right.
Sorry, Rubbermaid is like the white whale of the public access late night talk show.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
But think about all the things that they could. I think the late night audience and the online audience would be really beneficial if they went for Rubbermaid as a sponsor.
Yeah.
Everyone needs totes.
I think that like I'm gonna switch it up just to kind of pressure them more, and like we'll sit on Rubbermaid's like boxes. So
Because how many boxes, like a paper company, you can't use boxes as chairs. I put a Rubbermaid tote, you can.
yeah, absolutely.
Like a sled company, you can't store stuff in a sled, but boom,
Yeah.
put a Rubbermaid tote down the stairs. That's durable, it'll hold up.
Durable. That's the Rubbermaid way.
It is. I want you to.
It's durable. The Rubbermaid way.
There, that's how
Does that
you do it.
work? There's 3 cameras here. I'm not used to this.
I think you just do it. I think the more you say it, the better. So
Durable. The Rubbermaid way.
I was hoping, I thought maybe you'd be like the voice because you have a deep baritone, and I sound like Charlie Day when I get excited.
You do.
I do, and I didn't know that until I was at a bar once, and I don't even know what I was animating about. The girl's like, oh, she was so disappointed when she turned around and saw my face. She was so upset. I was like, I didn't mean to ruin your day. There's a pun here. I didn't mean to ruin your Charlie Day.
There you go. Well, we'll edit the first part out.
Yeah, keep both.
So, another thing with stand-up and improv that kind of bridges that you use in both is emceeing, which you're one of the best MCs I've ever worked with, and you can tell that because you're really running this interview right now.
You just cut me off until we stop.
Well, you're being entertaining. I'll let you be entertaining.
Hooray!
Again, improv. It's let the other person do. Just yeah.
You let me be myself.
Yes.
So, but what's your?
Well, no, I explained the role of the MC because that kind of bridges stand-up and improv. That's a skill that uses both, those skill sets. But
Yeah, and I mean the MC's primary job, even at I don't care if it's a seminar. Your job is to set the stage and not just literally, but metaphorically, and that's give the audience a sense of what's to come.
yeah.
And get them excited to see the artists do their craft. And then on top of that, it's also about keeping things moving. And I think that's the hardest thing for a lot of MCs going out is that balance between.
And that's something with improv. I remember you really pushing with the move the scene forward, keep it going, keep moving forward. You're good at that. And,
Well, and I think that's, there's a time to find that arc, and sometimes I would err on the side of ending things prematurely, which is, I know that now, having done more stand-up about letting a joke breathe and how one thing can lead to another, but
it's better to let the audience want more than
right, and
tire them out.
Can we get that audience to have an hour show? Can we make that hour feel like a half hour?
Yeah.
And that 90 minutes feel like 60 minutes? And so when they leave, they're like, oh man, I wanted so much more. So I just laughed for an hour and a half straight. That's awesome. I want to come back.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing that will hurt a scene in the culture more than boredom and unrest. Things if you're doing like a 2-hour show, people get tired. No one wants to be tired. They want to have the energy after the show to go out later.
Yeah, I mean, some venues get reputations for just this open mic or whatever drags, so people don't.
Right, and in stand up too. Like one thing that MCs I hope should do, and if you're in like a club setting where the lineup's pre-booked, you don't have that option. But otherwise, it's put the show together.
Yeah,
and improv was
right. The show order is very important. The show order is important.
In improv, it's game order, right? So if we're doing more short form comedy, it's okay. This game is going to use this type of skill. Do we need to let's re-engage the audience with this game. Let's pair these two people together because their talents will play off for this scene. It's giving enough. You're not having one person be the hero every time. Like, how do we balance that? And in improv, it's a lot more fluid. In stand-up, it's more about, okay, if I'm doing an open mic, I want this guy to start. I want to have these people in the middle, and this is how we structure it. So you never have that 15 minutes of just first-timers going.
Yeah, that drag. I mean, there's places you don't want to put a first-timer or someone who's always slumming. Consistently, the audience knows, I'm going to check out during this set.
Right. Yeah. Right. It's just, and it's understanding your talent and realizing what your job is, and that's to move things forward.
Yeah.
And to help your performers be successful. I think that's the biggest thing. Yeah. Is that if you're an MC and no one notices you, that's okay.
And it's an appropriate way to be controlling too, with the set list and emceeing, because you are running the show, but it's not about you. So you are moving it forward, but you're still moving all the pieces together. So I think that's an appropriate way to use those controlling urges a lot of comedians have.
Yeah, and I think
I don't know. I can speak for myself, as I love moving around people.
You're all pawns!
Yes.
I think that's the cool thing about emceeing is understanding that you're the intermediary between the audience and the artist.
Yeah.
And obviously, in order to give the audience the best show possible, you need to put your artists in the position to be as successful as they can be. And you do that by making sure that the person that they're following, that you're not giving them a tired crowd.
Yeah.
That the person that they're following in the stand-up set, is going to either build them up or at least have a divide where they can come in with new energy. Like if there's a guy who's going to be kind of dry, intellectual humor, flip that, put an energy guy in after that who within one joke will rebuild that crowd, and then after that energy goes up, maybe you put a new guy. Don't put the new guy after the dry guy, because you've got this dry person who might have been really funny, but
there's a different energy. You need to pick the energy up for that new guy.
And the new guy will be like hearing and so he's already moving on those nerves, but now he's he's just going for it, and it's kind of like pushing someone off that diving board and helping them use that spring. Literally the spring board, which is an improv term in stand-up, but to get them over and take the plunge.
Yeah. So your material, you've got a lot of material. You write a lot. You have a lot of things that work, and I've seen you go for a very long time with just stand-up, and that's tough to do because a lot of it is like endurance. Even if you have enough material, being able to last on stage for a long time, last on stage for like 3 Green Day songs, for instance, or something is.
Oh, it's an inside joke.
It is. It's about your material.
About
a joke I like of yours.
So the joke for public access television. So I'm trying to enhance my my sexual endurance, and I've noticed that I time myself on Green Day songs, and I realize Green Day songs about 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So like right now I'm up to like 2.5 Green Days. So as far as comedy duration,
Yes.
I'm pretty much through Dookie.
Nice. Yes.
I'm working on a Dookie to a Nimrod. I want to get into the discography of comedy.
Yeah.
But so anyway, about the endurance and the material.
Yeah. I was just, I guess, saying that I like a lot of your stuff.
Oh,
That doesn't always happen. I mean, that I always know, like, even if you go through old stuff, I know I'm going to like that because you'll be energetic about it. You've worked out punchlines, but when you have new stuff, I know it's going to be an interesting premise and, like,
Yeah.
maybe it's just because, like, I'm friends with you and I've worked with you and stand up and improv a lot that I know kind of the way you work, but, like, as an audience member, it's nice to have that trust in someone you're going to sit and watch for maybe 30 minutes.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, and by no means, I've kind of taken a little step back from stand up to focus on the improv a little bit more. It's just this kind of balance. So I haven't totally found my stand up voice. It's like any artist or musician, you have to find that consistency. But I don't know. To me, like stand up, I like to incorporate some of the aspects of the absurdity of improv into my stand-up. So it's how can we correlate, to similar things in something that's funny and insightful. One of my favorite premises is about, we think that puberty is really hard.
Yeah.
Like growing up, being an adolescent is really hard. It gets better.
Yeah.
That's the big thing now. It gets better.
It gets better.
Unless you're a caterpillar. Then it doesn't get better. I mean, it does, because you can fly, but it gets really weird. It's like you go and you make your own sleeping bag, and then you wake up and you're
different.
You want, like, what are this? You doubled in size. You took a nap, and you woke up and you doubled in size, and oh, by the way, now you fly, and things want to eat you. You were like, oh, before I wanted to just nibble leaves. Like, that was your whole existence.
Complicated now.
Yeah, now you've got responsibility. You're supposed to migrate.
Yeah.
You got to go on vacation. Everyone's doing it. It is like life. It's like, you think it's bad leaving to go to college to enter the corporate world.
Yeah.
Try by being 2 inches long and flying across country with other people. And like that is traffic. That's the worst kind of traffic day ever. That is the worst commute because you die at the end.
Yeah.
Puberty's hard. So
Puberty is hard. I know that.
Puberty.
Hey, Carrie Winterstein. Carrie Winterstein will be our next guest here. She's walking by.
Yeah, she lives here.
She lives here. Which is great.
Lance used the space at Theater B, which we've done stand-up and improv here. It's a very welcoming environment.
Theater B is awesome.
Yeah.
Theater B is exactly. I'm going to plug your show. I'm going to plug your venue.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do it with 100% sincerity. No, Theater B is exactly what Fargo needed. I think it seats what, 75 people?
Yeah.
It is totally that black box premise in a very public space. It's right in our downtown, which is being rejuvenated and constantly infused with creative talent. A lot of what we do in, talking about these rings before the interview, a lot of what we do as far as a community in creative is going down those roads of a lot of safe, kind of guaranteed revenue generating pieces. So, how many times, at least one high school in our metro does Grease every single year.
Yeah.
Because it's going to bring in a box office receipt. It sounds so official, but Theater B, they're going to do something that's new and that's unexpected.
Yeah.
It might be topics that are sensitive. It might be politically or socially or
and if they work at a level that's going to succeed too. That's smart. You know, like you said, that small, intimate, 75 seats, you know, so it's not trying to do something experimental on a huge stage and then fail and all this, but it's a place that's consistent and it's growing because of that.
And it's accessible, and you're right. I think Absurd's it's challenging for this market. You know, we're not having like performance artists on hooks with like you know, but it's gonna be a piece that might raise some eyebrows and spark some conversation
and the fact that they even have conversations after some shows is great. Have you ever been part of one of those?
I have not.
So like Good People or Frozen, like the play Frozen about like a murderer, not the Disney.
Right.
There's a difference, but some of the difficult issues, like they'll bring an expert and they'll talk about it, and I mean that's good for this area, especially with like the Minnesota, North Dakota Nice, where we don't discuss.
Well, it is like the purpose of really great art, though.
Yeah.
It makes you. To me, the aftershock of really great art is the conversation afterwards. It's the need to talk about what you just experienced, and I think that can apply to comedy too. It's a release, but a really good comedian. You're not just quoting his material afterwards. You might even be thinking about how it made you feel, or the next morning on the way to work, you're chuckling in the car, or you know. And that's I think what Theater B does, and I think that's just kind of representative in our whole community.
Yeah, we're definitely moving in that direction, which is good. How do you, like continuing on that path of stand-up and improv? Where would you say we are with that in this community? Where do we need to go with it? What's working? What?
It's a really hard question.
Yeah. I mean, I think and I wasn't even in town when this was happening because I wasn't living here, but the comedy competition, the Comedy Brawl, I think got a lot of press and a lot of people going to it and a lot of involvement.
Well, and a lot of that stems from, Eric Block, who's going to be on the show. I mean, he's one of the best promoters I've ever seen, and a very, very funny man, really talented. And I've seen his band too, which is awesome.
We'll talk about that. He's got a lot of things to talk about. It's cool.
Yeah. But I don't know where the comedy goes. I think it's amazing that we have such an appreciation for live. I mean, seeing a Comedy Brawl, it was a 2-night competition, and both nights were standing only. So there's a hunger here for live entertainment, and where does that go? I don't know. I don't think we haven't pushed really hard to guide it in a specific direction. So we're just.
It might push back a bit.
Yeah, but I mean, there's movement to something, and sometimes you pinball, but it's not like there's this visionary who's trying to shape what comedy is in the area. We just do it because we love it. Yeah. And I think having 2 comedy clubs that were open and viable is a good sign. I think having 5 open mics a week is something that's viable. I think
having so many quality comics consistently working and traveling from here and.
Right. I mean, you've got Chad Daniels, who's 45 minutes away. Yeah. He's doing Comedy Central with Spot. He was on Conan. You've got Adam Quinnell, who's
released a 2nd CD. Like, we've got 2 comedy CDs out of Fargo.
And one of them was, Stand Up Records. I mean, that's the label for stand-up comics. So, improv, we've had a troupe that's been around for a decade plus, 15 years. I think that's phenomenal. Yeah. So, there's I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know where it needs to go. I think people just do it because they love it, and I think having a places like Theater B and having the other bars and venues that have given amateur stage time.
Red Raven, New Direction, People Parrot, Courtney's. There's a lot of
all of those, and the length of these open mics. I heard somewhere that an average open mic lasts 18 months at the most.
Yeah, especially when they're not attached to a comedy club. Like I've heard that's unheard of. That the Red Raven 3, 4 years.
5.
Is it 5 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
so it's just, and my favorite part about it is it shows like the viability of live entertainment in any community of any size.
Yeah.
I'm always amazed that people come to shows. I don't care if it's an improv show or a stand-up show. I'm amazed that because YouTube.
Yeah.
Like, cat videos are hilarious. What we're showing right now, like,
yes.
someone is going to either elect to watch this or go watch actual comedy. And, like, we'll edit that out, too.
No,
sorry, Rubbermaid.
It's honest. We're edgy.
Yeah, we're edgy. We don't even need tablecloths. No. This isn't even water. It's not, it's just empty.
Yeah.
So, magic's over. But I mean, like there's that viability between people have to make a choice. Everyone think about all the content. Like I can't even catch up on any shows that I want to watch. There's so much really great content. So for someone to say, I'm gonna take time off my phone. I'm gonna take time out of my day and out of my Netflix queue, and I'm gonna go watch someone who's, even if they're getting paid very little.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna do it. I mean, you can go on Netflix and watch a comedian like, you know, the Louis C.K. who's gonna charge 25, 30, $50 a ticket. You can watch that for free, or you can go pay $5 to watch someone, you know, muddle through 20 minutes. I think it's amazing that still happens, and
Absolutely.
It's amazing to be a part of a community that's always supported the arts. And it's amazing that we have really talented artists that respond and fill that need.
Absolutely. There's a lot of great people here doing great things. So
Yeah.
this is a good note to maybe wrap up on.
Yeah.
We found the positive. Like we said earlier, improv is about finding being open to find the punchline.
Yeah, this is the punchline, and we're gonna edit out me checking my phone.
That was Jason Jacobson. If you're interested in seeing Jason performing, he is currently a member of the Linebenders improv team. To find out more about Linebenders and their tour and their show dates, make sure to look up Linebenders on Facebook and follow them. You'll see a lot of cool stuff there. So that's our show. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned something, and if you didn't, I hope you had fun. Thanks.